Okay, this is an '07 Mustang, and I have ABS, traction control, and it says it's off. So I got my code reader, and when you do this diagnostics, it gives you the thing for the codes and the ABS. So that's what we're going to go for. ABS, US vehicle, Ford, read codes. And interesting enough, there was 4 codes. Now there's 3. It says left rear. Left rear. So that would be the driver's rear. Right rear. Controller left front. Controller battery fault, voltage increase, left front. Now I got the new speed sensors coming. Right rear circuit failure. Circuit failure for left and right. So 7.5. So there is a thing online that I found where to look for a bad circuit for the right side, the passenger rear. So I'm going to check that out. Left rear. You got me. And we're going to try to test the ABS sensors, which are attached to the wheels. Now I did a lot of work already to study how this works. So the first thing we got to do to test them ABS is take off the air box. You can test them at the wheel, but that's been really hard for me to do. You got to crawl under there when you can take off these screws. Now mine's busted, so I only got one good screw. Take the air box out, and your ABS controller and your wires are right there. So let me take that out. This is your ABS controller. This is your ABS thing, and these are your wires you want to test. So you just push that back out of the way and jiggle this loose. Easier to do with 2 hands. And those are your wires. And notice this says 44 maybe. So those are your rears and those are your fronts. So I'm going to go draw a schematic so I can show you which ones are which. Okay, this is the numbers, and this right here are what each one of these are. So you have 31 there, you got your big 45. Now that's listed as 44, so those ones with the 4 silver are your rear ones. The other 2 silver ones right there, silver there, those are your fronts. Those 2 are your fronts. This number 6 is a voltage. That one's a voltage. Oh, sorry. This one and that one are the cans. And that's a voltage. 31 is a voltage. 2 is a voltage. And that number 6 right there is a voltage. So take a look at that. This one's color coded. Same thing. 45s. And that's each one of those and what they are. So you have your ground, you have your rears, you have your voltage, you have your right, you have your can, you have your ground, left, voltage, can, and voltage. So now, if we test left front, those two, and put the pins on them, we should be able to test each wheel sensor by probing 12 and 13. So 12 and 13 are these two bottom ones. So we should be able to probe those two bottom ones right there with the ohm meter and see whether the sensor is good on all four of those. So that's what we're going to try next. Okay, this is the attachment for the that plug's not supposed to be in there. That's it attaches right here, so you basically have to take the wheels off, press this little tab, kind of hard to see with no light, press the little tab in, pull that out. Now that's not going to be in there. That's what I'm using to test the ABS sensor. So basically, let me plug that in, and basically you just put that on ohms, but I've learned if you put this in backwards, testing these backwards, it won't read anything. So let me put these on here. I need a tripod, see if I can show you that. So if you put that in there one way, you get no reading. Okay, so I'm going to switch that and for the sensor. Okay, I switch those, a little probe, and that's what a good sensor looks like on this meter. Now I tried to do that on every meter is different, but that's a good probe. That's a good wheel sensor. So I've tested both wheel sensors. These are new ones. I put them in there so I know that they're working. Now I've also tested the wiring. I actually tested continuity from here up to that wiring harness that's in the front. So I know the wiring's good and I know that the sensors are good. So now it's a matter of trying to figure out why that controller is not recognizing these. All right, that's what my bad sensor looked like. It doesn't stabilize, it just moves all around. This is the front one. This one was the bad, and it said it was the left one, but it was really my passenger side. But being left, I thought it was the driver's side. So when I took these off and tested each one, it was kind of weird. So let me test the other good. Okay, this is the other front one. Just going crazy, 2.4. When I was testing this one before, that's what I was getting. It would just go from low to number, low to number, low to number. It would just jump all around, just going crazy. So that one was the one that I suspected was bad. Just going crazy. Okay, we're now down to 2 codes. The one code cleared right away. So we're going to try to erase codes. Erasing codes, erase, done. So let's try to we still have our codes, and they're still there. I did that with when I changed out the front sensors and the code went away. So now there's either a fuse not controlling the rear, or the ABS controller that thing's plugged into is not working. So we're going to try fuses next, do some research for fuses, and if that don't work, then we will probably replace the ABS module computer part. Okay, this is my plan of attack. I'm going to test the positive hot wires, test the ground, test for parasitic drain, test the switch, which I don't think I can do, and test the ABS module, which I don't think I can do without a computer, but I can do those top three. The other thing that I found is back to this one, which is the power and the grounds. So the grounds are these two yellows. They go to a ground underneath the box, so we need to check that ground. We need to check the fuses, which are going to the hot wires, which is 32 and number 2, 32, number 2, and 31, 32, and number 2. So we need to check 31, 32, and number 2 for the hot wires, which are fuses number 18 in the cabin and 8 and 65 in the engine compartment. And then the other ones are the cans and the brake pedal, which is fuse 47 for the PCM relay. So I bought a relay tester to check that relay. So we are going to do the ground that's under that box first, because that's a common place, and test our 2 fuses and our relay in there and the one under the glove box. So let's do that. Okay, that's the ground wire. It's got the 2 grounds, which are grounds 45 and 46. So that's our 2 black wires that are going to the grounds, to the frame. 16, 45 and 16, 45, 16 to ground G. So that's that ground under the air box. Mine's busted and from the wreck, but it looks like they did a pretty good job grounding that back, so we can actually test that ground. So now let's go to the fuses. Not here, but that is buzzing, and that means that's working. Fuses, when they're busted, do not have continuity. Okay, so that one was that one. Way to test these, you can pull them out and look at them, or just hit these little things here. Too hard to do with one hand. Impossible. Okay, the other fuse is up in here, and it's number 18, which you can't see, but I've already tested all these fuses. One of them is number 18, and you know, I saw corrosion on this, and this sucker is hot like right now. So I want to test this one and see. It's got some stuff on there, so I visually looked at that, and I'm wondering if that has to do with anything on that. So we're going to test this one real quick. Okay, the next thing we're testing is the ground continuity, to make sure this wire that's running from there to there is good. So I've tested, basically, it's hard to do here. Basically, put one of those on the ground, and I ran a little thing in there. So that's the ground for the front one. You can't probe in there, so I got a little paper clip. And that's the ground for the rear, and that's the ones that are having the problems, and it's also working. So that's the ground for the rear going into the control module. So the ground going into the control module is good on both forward and back. Now I want to test to see if there's power on these front 2, on the 3. So I need to figure out which one's the power. So we're gonna have to look at this, which is voltage always number 2. That's voltage always, and that's number 12. Number 6 is voltage always. voltage. Oh, so there's 4 voltage. The blue ones are all voltage. So we have one keyed, which is 32, and those are voltage always. So basically, if I put that in there and go from there to a ground, that should have 12 volts. So we're gonna put our meter on 12 volts and see if that will produce 12 volts. So always, 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 and keyed. So let's test that. Number 2 should be always. Number 2. So number 2, got to be careful here. You don't want to get that, let it touch metal. So number 2's this one, and 31, 32, and 6. So I'm going to put this down and check those out. Okay, I know it's going to be hard to see, but if I put this pin in these and test this, these two are always 12 volts, 11.70. That's got the keyed on. So then we go to this one, and that one is 1170. And then we went to this one, which is the key, which is 32, and we just probed that one, 1163. And that one is 1167. So those all have power. The grounds are good to ground. So everything's working as far as I can tell. All the wires are working. So my thinking is that this controller right here is no good. So I need to get the stock number off of there, because if you order that off, I thought I'd do one more test. And basically I just unplugged the whole unit, make sure ignition is on, test securely connected. So that's kind of freaking it out. Check the battery. So link error. So let me turn this off. We'll reset the codes and we'll try it again here. So let me plug it back in. It knew that that thing was unplugged. Okay, that's plugged back in. Now the brake thing fixed itself. Still got the ABS code. This light, I do not understand what turns this on and off. I don't know if this button is bad or the thing. So, I mean, if I was just going to go crazy, I'd buy the new button and buy that new controller module, because I just don't know what to do. So, let's turn this off. We'll turn this back on. ABS, US, forward, read codes. Same 2 damn codes. Okay, let's try to, it won't erase the codes with the key on, ignition on, engine stopped. Oops. Key on, engine stopped. Erase. Yes. Yes. Erase done. Okay, let's see if it reads codes. Reading codes. Nope, they will not go away. Speed sensor input circuit failure. Problem is, I don't know what an input circuit is. Input circuit failure. And wheel speed sensor rear input circuit failure. So everything's a circuit failure. I still had those 2 codes for the rear. and I re-looked up the front codes that were cleared, and they erased when I did the front sensors that I bought, excuse my language, I have to delete that out of there, beep, off of eBay. These are lifetime Duralast, and basically as soon as I plugged them in there and turned off the car, turned it on, it's SU8827. Okay, the code's out. The TCS is off, things off. Now, I haven't cleared these codes, but the codes are in there, so let's turn it off. And we're going to do diagnostics, ABS, US, Ford, communicating, read codes. Now the codes are in there. Okay, so now we're going to clear the codes, erase codes. Erase codes. So it wants me to turn the engine to the on position, and then we're going to say yes, will be lost, erasing done. Okay, read codes, codes, no codes. So basically I still had those two codes for the rear, and I re-looked up the front codes that were cleared, and they erased when I did the sensors that I bought, excuse my language, I have to delete that out of there, beep, off of eBay. These are lifetime Duralast, and basically as soon as I plugged them in there and turned off the car, turned it on, it's SU8827. The strange thing is, when I tested these ohms, they were 500 and something, and same as these. I tested them before I put them in there. That's the ABS on this one is right here in the back axle. Has a little duty clip in the back, right there. It clips in right there, and then right there is where it clips into the harness. Now I tested this harness from here to up there to the engine, so I knew that was good. So seeing that the codes said it was the same thing, in my mind I thought I needed to try new sensors, which didn't make any sense. And both of these sensors were reading the same ohms, and I'm going to set this up and I'll show you what it was reading. These are reading that they're good sensors. Okay, these are the eBay sensors on ohms, and they have good reading. And those said the exact same thing, like 505, 5 something. But this connector, I don't think this connector was connecting into the connector. They were real hard to plug in, and I just don't think it was getting a proper connection. So, that's a fixed car. Didn't have to buy that other computer and the switch. So I threw some parts at it. These were 65 bucks. The front ABS sensors were 40 bucks for the pair, 44 bucks. So I spent $100 on ABS sensors, and threw $100 at it. And sometimes you can fix stuff, throwing parts at stuff, trying to test. But that's crazy that those tested good and didn't work.